Today is August 10th, and I forgot to turn this on, 2023, and we're talking about pain in the shoulder, nerve gliding, doing Feldenkrais, gentle rolfing. A colleague of mine who's a rolfer, osteopath, naturopath, Feldenkrais practitioner extraordinaire, she's genius, was guided me over to these YouTube channels of physical therapists to do the nerve gliding. When the pain is from the elbow down, it's almost always the ulnar nerve. And when people get carpal tunnel pain, it's the ulnar nerve, which is why when we've talked about it, when they do carpal tunnel surgery, rarely does a person's sensations actually improve. It could actually get worse because now they're interfering with connective tissue and more adhesions and scarring. So there are wonderful YouTubes that you can look up for these physical therapists that are on nerve gliding through the shoulder and the elbow.
Excellent.
And then I will look for them also and forward them to you. And absolutely, absolutely. They make a big difference. And then when you mix it with your awareness of your Feldenkrais work, with the steering wheel, right? Because the steering wheel, what a nice sigh that already gave me. When we do the because here's the thing, Elise, we just don't notice how often we're hiking one side up.
Absolutely.
And when I say hiking, it just means it's overactivated. It's too busy. It's so busy all the time. No wonder we get a, stiffness in there. Then the eyes don't move as easily. The breath doesn't go. Then swallowing becomes an issue. And the side effect is acid reflux. Do you see what?
Amazing.
Do you see how it all ties in?
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. I totally do. And I have the added input of playing the piano all the time.
Yes, and then you never know what you're activating.
Yeah, if I'm nervous about something, difficult passages coming up, et cetera, et cetera. Yes. I also have another question for you. I realize that a lot of these nerve pain and sensations in my arm come with similar sensations in my neck and head.
Where?
Well, in the muscles of my neck, both sides, but a lot on the right side, where I have the damage from the temporomandibular joint. In my head, it really sort of moves around. So, if I say to myself, disinhibit your head and neck, I feel my movements are easier.
Show me what that means.
Well, just if I think to myself, think about your neck and your head, and I raise my arm, I'm not raising my shoulder.
Right.
And I'm not thinking about my shoulder or even my shoulder blade, because it's actually bypassing that thought and allowing me to move. I mean, it's not painless, because, as I lower my shoulder, especially on this side, I get from the arthritis. I mean, it's like a cog, like a watch part that has these things coming out. Well, that's my arthritis, and I get, that's there. So, and the other thing, I have a bone spurs, which really are starting to bother me. So
in the shoulders,
in the back of the shoulder, under the arm, I've got them mostly in the back, but I think in the front as well.
How did they see that these are bone spurs?
I got x-rays, and they told me right away, you have bone on bone end stage arthritis with bone spurs. You've got the whole thing.
in the shoulder blades?
No, in the shoulder joints.
Mm.
That's what, I mean, right away they said, you are an excellent candidate for surgery. They said that to me, 3 years ago. And I'm, really very, very, very worried about that because of the piano and the idea of cutting through nerve or whatever. I don't like the idea at all. So I'm trying to do whatever I can to avoid that. But it's very, very painful, Elinor. It's extremely painful. I mean, sometimes when it's very painful, especially in the evenings, it's very painful. And I say to myself, it's unspeakable. It's unspeakable
My
what
God.
this feels like.
Is it feeling like muscle, tendon, ligament pain, or nerve also?
Also, nerve
Ugh.
also. Yeah.
Ah.
Well,
So
it comes all the
somehow,
way through, all the way through. You explain to me where these nerves are, and they come through the neck, and they go through, the shoulder, and it makes perfect sense to me. And then down the arms, and you showed me the nervous system, and how, I really memorized the image of this gaggle of nerves that comes down here, and then another gaggle that goes down the leg. And it's no wonder I have all these sensations.
so I'm wondering, in the moment that that's happening, if you can lie down and do on your back and do the really gentle rolling the head with Feldenkrais awareness.
Yes, yes, yes. I do this all the time, but I will do it at the moment that it's
Yes,
worst.
right.
I do this between every activity I do. I go to my room, I lie down, and I do Feldenkrais. Sometimes
Okay.
I do something structured. Sometimes I just lie down and, as you say, roll my head, very, 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 you know, slowly. Or I do. Uh, I'll lean my knees one way and roll my head the other way, and very,
So,
very.
but when you do that, can you add in the visualization of your whole spine? So
Oh yeah.
when you do the tilting of the knees an inch over to the left, or an inch over to the right, and the head over an inch to the left, you're seeing the spinal cord as flexible and mobile. And so then you take the knees a little bit over to the what did your knees went over to your left?
To the right.
To the right. When your knees go over to the right, then you bring them back, and the knees go over to the right, and you bring them back. Now, in the beginning, when you do it, bring the knees and the head to the right,
Okay.
and then back. And bring the knees and the head to the right, because that's the first undifferentiated. Let's always start with the undifferentiated
Okay.
and see, does your spine curve like the letter C? Does your spine do something? See your spine in your mind's eye, how it participates, how she participates together
I
with your
love it. I
movement.
love it. I love
It just feels like a she,
it. It
really.
does.
My spine is a she because she's so malleable, and then every so often she screams at me, and then other times she's like, back to thank you very much. So and other times we can sit
I've
down.
always wanted a pet.
Well, there you go. See? And this one, and sometimes this one will be fussy. And so, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. And then we can say, well, what's wrong?
Oh, that's so nice. And it feels incredible. Now, I I have been working too hard at instead of just visualizing the sign, I've been working too hard at trying to feel what the
Uh-huh.
spine
Yeah.
is doing. And
You
I
don't
think
have
that
to
I don't have to.
visualize.
Yes,
You
yes.
don't have to, because by the time you feel it, how do we know now it's not too much? So just visualize that movement,
I love
and
it.
then
I
you
love it.
notice, but what you can notice is your breath.
Absolutely.
What you can notice are your eyes. What you
I
can
want to,
notice is your tongue.
I'm glad you said that, because uh, I notice that if I start a movement, even when I think of starting a movement, the first thing that happens that I notice is that my tongue tightens.
Yeah, because your tongue is connected into your throat and your neck and all of that.
So, what would be the nicest way
Are you
of,
ready? Like
yeah,
this. Ready? So if you're just listening to this as audio, what I'm doing is I'm turning my head to the right and I'm taking my tongue to the right. Now there's two ways at the moment that I can think of is I initiate the movement with my head and then my tongue gets moved with it. The other way can be I initiate it with my tongue and my head is moved because my tongue is moving. And thank you for being soft with your eyes. And the thing is you bring the tongue ever so slightly forward and then over to the right. And this is me, I'm very tongue-tied. So you can see my frenum is completely,
really?
I'm very tongue-tied. So I can't bring it, you're good. So
I-
I can't bring it too far forward or it ruins the
Yes,
action of the
I
learning moment because I'm
I
busy sticking my frenum between my teeth. So
I see.
it's just an initiation of forward. It's just an initiation that the tongue is coming forward and then out. And this is a very ancient reflex. As soon as we're born, the first thing we do is breathe, free air. And then the next thing we're able to do is bring our lips and mouth and tongue forward so that we
We
can
can
nurse.
suck.
If we can't do it, we don't survive. So that's children love ice cream because we go, see how the head goes with it? So the tongue starts and the head goes with it. If my head stayed here and it's not quite the same. And then my tongue and lips go. I don't just go because I'm going to get it all over. So I'm going to move my lips a little with it. Now, if I had someone who came with the ice cream to the right, I go, oh, oh, oh. And notice your breathing. All the way down to your belly button. Notice your breathing.
Can I just tell you something? This is off the midline. When I did that just now, and this happens every once in a while, and I have talked to a couple of people about it. When I stuck my tongue out this way, very kind of spontaneously with your direction, I got a pinprick sensation in this part of my eye.
Oh, yeah, the nerves.
Yeah.
The nerves. It's the nerves.
I was worried about that because that happens every once in a while when
Yeah.
I'm doing Feldenkrais, for instance, when I'm, rolling my head or whatever. I spoke to a neurologist and an
Ophthalmologist.
the optometrist.
Oh, optometrist or ophthalmologist?
No, optometrist. It was just
Oh,
an eye exam.
oh,
And
okay.
I said I thought it was nerve. And the neurologist told me to take a lab to see whether I was deficient in vitamin
I
E.
was gonna
E.
say, it's B. It's
E.
yeah, because I was just gonna say it's a B vitamin.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm
It,
taking the supplements now.
which one are you
Well,
taking?
I'm
B.
taking 12 and compound,
What's your B12?
the one that you told me to get.
Oh, the methylated
Ethyl blah 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 blah.
cobalamin. Okay,
Yes, under the tongue.
under the tongue.
Yes,
How many units? 5,000?
5,000.
2,000? Okay,
5,000.
and you're doing it every morning on an empty
Yes,
stomach? I mean, drink water, then
yes,
under the tongue.
yes,
And you're taking the B complex.
yes.
Okay. Have you noticed a difference in the eye?
No. But I mean, this is it's very, very infrequent, but every once in a while.
I mean, it usually is an indicator of the B vitamin deficiencies. And of course, strangely enough, I don't get off scot-free. I had for a year a weird twitching in my right eye, and it would drive me nuts, and I could feel it. I could feel it. And I thought, okay, I know what's happening. My collagen fibers are all of a sudden giving up the shift, and my face is dropping. Then that took about a period of a year where the lids dropped, but I could feel tingle, tingle, tingle as the lids were dropping, as this was blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then I'm like, this,
Invisibly, I may say.
not really, but thank you. I look like I'm always smiling with my eyes closed. You don't
Listen,
even know I have brown eyes.
a smile is as good as a facelift.
Yeah, it doesn't change my happiness, that's for sure. But it means I don't need sunglasses as often because my eyes are
I love it.
But as soon as I started the B12, and what a difference. And then I upped my B complex, the one that I take, from 1 to 2 capsules. And they say
Oh,
you should take 3, but I figured I'm a little people, so I would take 1 because I would see how much I would pee out, the orange
yeah,
color.
yeah.
It didn't matter. I upped it to 2
Okay,
capsules.
okay.
What a difference
No
between
kidding.
the B12 made a difference, 1 more of the B
Okay,
complex. And I
okay. Well,
would
I'll try
say
that.
in a whole week,
Mm-hmm.
I had 1 little twitchy thing, and that was this morning.
Wow.
But I was sleeping funny on my pillow
Uh-huh.
on my right side. So it probably just smushed my
Uh-huh.
right side. But I'm telling you, Elise, it was previous to that, it was all the time.
Oh, really?
It was just
Okay.
happening all the time. How
Oh,
would I have expected? Now, the other thing I did to increase the absorption of the B vitamins, I started taking a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, organic apple cider
oh,
vinegar with
you've
the
talked
mother.
about that before. Yeah, yeah.
It
I
made
have to try that.
it changed my life.
Did it really?
It changed my life because I was having a constant cough to the point where people were like, you need to get an x-ray. What if you have lung cancer? What if there's mold in your lungs? And I'm like, I just don't think I do. I think I have silent acid reflux. And here I teach about acid reflux. So the little voice said in my head, it's like, you should take a little bit of apple cider vinegar. And I did. The first time I took it, I go, that is just so offensive. Blah, blah. And I'm in the kitchen alone going,
Can't
blah.
you put it in something?
Nope. I put it on a teaspoon and just sipped it.
But
Now
can one put it in something like
I,
orange juice or?
I wouldn't want to dilute it.
Okay.
You can for the probiotic part of it,
Uh-huh.
but I needed it to go in to close the gastric esophageal
Oh, I see.
sphincter.
Yes, 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 yes,
So
yes.
now I can easily take a tablespoon and swig it. So I've experimented when it's good, when it's not. Okay, don't do it at first thing in the morning directly on an empty stomach. So I drink my water, take the B12, I'll
Mhm,
eat a little bit, and then I take a tablespoon of it, and
mhm.
then I finish eating, or I do it right after. And I would say maybe once every other day there's a, and that's it. Not a constant where people are like, oh my God. And I'm going, I'm sorry, I don't even know where it comes, So, and guess what the side effect was?
Tell me.
I rarely have that getting older runny nose
Really?
because
Is that a getting older thing?
the it's silent acid reflux.
No kidding. Because I have that all the time, all the time. My nose is
That
running.
is, so what's happening is when you lie down in bed and the acid just creeps up, and it creeps up as you're lying down into the sinuses. And it's just enough to irritate the sinuses a little bit. So the sinuses produce more mucus and it causes you to have a constantly runny nose.
No kidding. I thought I had allergies that I didn't know about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I will tell you, I would have it more here at the island than I would at my home in the hills. Right. And we have more stuff in the air here.
What
But
island? Where are you?
oh, I'm on Balboa Island in Newport Beach.
Oh my God, how nice.
This is my little home here.
Oh my God, yes, it's a different scene.
Yeah.
I just noticed.
I know. I love being here. So
Oh, that's so
it took
nice.
us, we were under construction for a long time, remodel,
Oh,
because our house was really damaged from the rains and last
oh my
December.
God, I'm so sorry.
Oh, well, we got rid of all the mold. It's all been abated. Everything's,
good.
so we're
Oh,
good.
good.
But I remember one day I took a Claritin because I was having super itchy eyes, right?
Mhm.
My allergies were really bugging me. My eyes were
Uh-huh.
itching like crazy
Uh-huh.
because I was in the process of doing a deep cleaning, and I'm not going to pay someone several $100s, so I'll just do a bit at a time and I take care of it. But my eyes were pretty itchy. And so I took a Claritin, and the side effect from taking the Claritin was I recognized I didn't blow my nose once. I am the person who walks with a Kleenex in every pocket at all times, just in case. And it's like, and then of course, you have the bowl of soup and the proverbial running
Oh
nose,
my God.
right?
Oh
Or the
my
cup
God.
of tea, or so what I'm saying is here are all these things we can do to help us. So
Right.
the B vitamins are honestly for helping the muscle twitching. The other thing, you might be a tad magnesium deficient. So if
Okay.
you're taking magnesium glycinate,
Uh-huh.
that's a good one to help for muscle twitching. But
Okay.
usually up here it's a B vitamin, but still.
Okay.
Okay. But how do you break down your B vitamins? By having enough hydrochloric acid in the stomach. Well,
And
when we get older,
we don't have it enough.
we make less hydrochloric acid.
Uh-huh.
So now when there's not much hydrochloric acid to give a little feedback to the sphincter here, the sphincter doesn't get the feedback, so it stays open. So what's in there leaks up and causes either, oh, you have overt, acid reflux. We're going to put you on a proton pump inhibitor. Never mind that will inhibit all B12. So you'll end up with peripheral neuropathy and confusion in your head. But at least you won't have acid reflux. OMG. Right? So what do? I add the apple cider vinegar, the organic Bragg's apple cider vinegar. I shake it so I get the mother in it. The mother is the part that's filled with probiotics. So that helps your stomach with digestion, and it helps against acid reflux, and it helps you to absorb the B vitamins and the magnesium and all of that. And then the apple cider vinegar, the sour part, closes the sphincter. So it stops that chronic drippy drip.
Wow.
That moves up.
Okay. I will get some and see if I can stand it.
I know. Start with a half a teaspoon.
Okay.
And you're going to go, ew, 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 ew. Then on the second day, you're going to go, oh, it's even worse today. Somewhere on the third or fourth day, you're like, that's not so bad. And there's something about, because my mother, God bless her heart, in a shot glass.
Ah,
and I'm like, how the heck do you do that? Oh,
it might taste better in a shot glass, actually.
Well, in a spoon, it kind of goes. I'm like, I'm truly.
Might be cool to do. I think I'll try it at a shot glass.
But only a
A tiny
teaspoon,
bit.
only a half a teaspoon
Okay,
even.
okay.
And then, excuse me, and then you'll add a little more
Yeah.
as you get used to it. I never thought it was possible, but I did play a mind game with myself going, I love oil and vinegar salad dressing.
Yeah, me too.
So why am I having such a problem with it? And I go,
Yeah,
well, it's in the morning. My mouth was,
yeah,
wasn't ready
totally,
for vinegar, and it's only vinegar. There's no oil with it,
totally.
and I played a game with myself going, you remember how much you love vinegar in your food. You love certain Asian foods for that vinegar bite,
Uh-huh,
much more than anything with creamy sauce. You like
uh-huh,
that.
uh-huh.
You
Me too.
like that. You like that. Mm.
Maybe you have to have it when you would have salad.
Well, I wanted it first thing in the morning
Oh,
because what was happening is after breakfast, I
mhm,
was always coughing.
uh-huh. Oh, can I ask you something about coughing as well? I get the impression that I am congested, but I have no cold. I have no anything else.
Yeah, it's probably acid.
Is that the same?
You know what it does, Elise? OMG. The acid doesn't just go up to the sinuses, but it can go up and make excuse me, it can go up the esophagus and make a U-turn and drip down into the lungs.
Okay, okay,
And
okay.
that's how elderly people get non-viral, non-bacterial pneumonia
Oy.
because the acid googly booglies gets in there. Liquid gets in there and there's no room for extra liquid, you know?
Oh, should I be worried about this feeling of being congested?
No, because once you start the acid reflux, your lungs are going to be oopity boop boop. You're going to be so
Right, I'm
happy.
gonna get it today. I'm gonna get it today.
So I will tell you, for about a few weeks, I could not take a deep breath without coughing if my life depended on it. And it was mucusy. And that's when I went, you got to do something, girl. That's acid. That's acid reflux. But it took me a long time to diagnose it in myself, right?
Right.
First, it was just the cough, and I didn't think twice about it.
Yeah,
It
totally.
was also the runny nose, and I go walk with people, and they go, "What is it with over 60 and a runny nose?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that really is a thing." So that goes into gets logged into the files, and then looking at people, and then everyone with acid reflux, and then the coughing, and the coughing, and then there's that mucusy cough or a dry cough, depending. The mucusy cough is when it's getting into the lungs. So as I started to think about it, I go, oh my God, what I had been taking was DGL, deglycerized licorice root, to soothe it and to soothe the stomach. But I went, no, the real thing is the apple cider vinegar, the organic apple cider vinegar with the
To
mother,
close
because
the
it doesn't just close it, but the probiotics help in it.
I see, I see, I see. Yeah, yeah, got it.
And it's so cheap.
Right. Okay.
Jeez Louise, don't tell anyone. It's so cheap. What
Okay.
does it cost? A few dollars for a
Right.
bottle this size?
Wow.
And you're
Wow.
having a teaspoon at a time until you finally get the chutzpah and you go, man, this is really good. I could do a tablespoon a day.
Okay. I'm gonna start it immediately.
And
So,
that's when you'll notice the stuff around the eye will improve.
oh, good. Oh, good.
So that's what I'm going back to.
Yes, yes, yes. But I mean, it's obviously I've got 3 or 4 things going on that are due to this. So
Yes.
that's
So
so
we've
good to
got
know.
we've got that there.
Mhm.
I'm going to send you the videos
Yes, please.
that she forwarded to me.
Yes.
Um,
For the arms. Yeah. That would be
yeah,
unbelievable. I wanted to ask you, do you just get organic?
I'll
I
show
mean,
you. I have it.
okay.
I'll show
Okay,
you.
good, good, good.
It's a very specific one that is so fantastic. You can get it at any health food store. Bragg's. Bragg
Brag.
organic
Okay.
apple cider
Okay.
vinegar.
All
And
right.
then he tells a whole bunch of stories, everything with brag. He does a lot of storytelling on there. Well, my mother, my grandmother, blah, 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 blah. So all the different things that you can do with it.
Okay. All right. Can you make salad dressing?
Oh, totally. So I almost stopped using other
Balsamic or
vinegars.
whatever. Yeah.
I did because I go, well, this is just another benefit. So here he says, um, oh my gosh. Okay. Bragg organic raw apple cider vinegar, which you can make your own, by the way, is made from the finest, delicious, healthy, organically grown apples. Raw apple cider vinegar is full of zesty, natural goodness and contains an amazing mother of vinegar, which occurs naturally as connected strand-like chains of protein enzyme molecules and is highly regarded throughout history. Many medical studies show the health benefits of apple cider vinegar. In 400 BC, Hippocrates, the father of medicine, used its amazing natural cleansing, healing, and energizing health qualities.
Wow.
It's good for salads, veggies, etc. And then he says, wait, I have to sneeze it. No, I don't. Delicious, ideal pick me up at home, work, sports, or gym. Perfect taken 3 times daily upon rising, mid morning, and mid afternoon. Oh, here's a way 1 to 2 teaspoons of Bragg organic vinegar in 8 ounces, in an 8 ounce glass of purified water to taste, or 1 to 2 teaspoons of, add 1 to 2 teaspoons of honey, maple syrup, blackstrap molasses
Oh,
to
there
sweeten
you
it.
go.
Right. See, so there's all this that you can do. For me, I needed that vinegar part to close the sphincter. I,
Right.
I
Right.
was desperate to stop that ridiculous coughing and have my
Right.
husband telling me, Elinor, that something's wrong. And my best friend, Elinor, something's wrong. And my kids going, Mom, blah, blah, blah. My brother going, blah, blah. So I'm telling you, I think I know what it is. And of course, there's nothing that irritates them more when I think I know what I'm doing.
I love it.
Well, because they're always worried that the person who did everything naturally all the time ends up dying from something because they thought they knew what they were doing. So I can appreciate it, but I was right.
Yay! Well, I will definitely do that. Thank you very much for that. That's fantastic. Fantastic.
Now I want to see, hold on. I want to see if I can, let me see if I can pull this up with those videos. Um, no, it's just going to take a little longer to get, if you have a moment,
Of
because,
course.
and I have taken, you're gonna you're gonna recognize the movements
Yeah.
because I've taken them and made them into movements for you. So
Oh, good. Okay.
yeah, and you'll recognize them from some of our lessons. Oh,
Good.
I may have to do it for
I just
my,
wanted to let you know that that's one of my projects in London is to go through the lessons and refresh because I know you commented that you haven't actually seen these videos, but I have my playlist ready
yes,
for
yes,
when I'm in
absolutely.
London. Yes, yes.
Okay. Oh, this is going to take a while. I can do, yeah, I'll just do it after here. I'm going to take it off because it's using up yeah, my,
I
my,
had another question for you, Eleanor.
yes,
I'm having trouble with my knees, and I don't know why.
both
Uh,
knees.
Yeah, both knees. I mean, I have the worst neuropathy I have is in my left side, which is the side that was not that I didn't have the hip replacement. That was on the right side. But both my knees are. Oops,
No
sorry.
worries.
Uh, both my knees are painful when I go from sitting to standing, and yeah, basically very heavy. The sides of my knees, both the inside and outside, feel full and heavy. I don't know why. This is not something that I'm used to. So I've never had real problems with my knees. So I have no idea. Maybe it is a consequence of having been sedentary and a non-ambulatory for so long. But if you have
Is
some
it
ideas,
more full and heavy like that when after you've eaten a certain food?
no, I would say no, because it would be on an empty stomach as well. It feels that way all the time.
All the time.
Yes, and also the other thing that I know is going on is both tendons behind my knees are one was swollen for a very long time, and but they're both rather painful. So, for instance, when I have to squat down to get into my bathtub, that hurts a lot when I'm bending my knees, when I'm squatting down when my bum is basically near my heels. That hurts a lot.
The popliteal lymph nodes lie in the tissue behind the knee.
Okay, well, I don't know what that means. So
I think you're having stagnant lymph.
oh,
I
that makes
think you're
sense.
having stagnant lymph. So look at, I'm gonna see if let me pull it up. Hold on, and then I'll screen share it. Oops. Come on. Here we go. Okay, here.
Okay, I have it.
Okay. So the popliteal lymph nodes. So this is the popliteal area.
Yes, the blue area in the middle.
All of this area. So it says, yes, it says swollen lymph nodes. So they conditions can cause them to swell, such as infections, autoimmune, and yes, sometimes cancer. But how do you drain the lymph nodes from the knees so you can look? Oh no, that's an ugly one. Okay. So what you can do is I want you to Google
Yes.
or go onto YouTube. Yeah,
Okay.
go onto YouTube and look up lymph and only look at the ones where it's either a naturopath or a physical therapist, not a personal trainer.
Okay.
Just, I want to get it so you're getting it from someone
Trained, really trained.
really trained. Okay, so that you understand the physiology. Now, what you're describing is not uncommon. Sorry about the double negative. Okay, because I don't want to say it's common, but it's not uncommon.
Yes.
And it's people will all of a sudden out of the blue go, God, it feels heavy. My knees feel heavy. And I feel like I walk heavy and it feels full. I'm like, you are spot on. Proof for the lymph. So there's things that you can do which are really lovely, right? That you work with just drawing the lymph back up. Do you see?
Okay.
That's what I'm doing. I'm drawing the lymph back up. But in the video, so the lymph, you don't have to touch hard.
Right.
You can, there's a brush that you can use where you brush the skin. It's called dry brushing in the shower. So often I will sit here and I just use my finger pads. Do you see
Okay.
just the pads of my fingers? And I go
Yeah.
like this, and I go like this, and I go like this, especially in the leg that I have neuropathy in. So I have neuropathy in my left leg. And so sometimes, so I understand my nerves were crushed. Okay. I understand that my nerves, whatever on this side, it's taken a beating. Every time I ever had a major thing in my life, it always seemed to be on the left side of my body.
That's so interesting.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I injured it when I was 18 and it was from my back and it was the left side. And then I injured my knee, the meniscus I tore, the left knee, and then I grew something that crushed the femoral nerve down the left side.
Good
And I was
grief.
a little worried that that third one was going to be the piece de resistance. And
Wow.
it was, the leftover was like a neuropathy, but I don't let it get the better of me. Right. So I draw on what can I do is the support systems of working the lymph. So if I'm sitting at my computer or I'm sitting and watching TV and I'm brushing, just like that, brushing, brushing. And then I have to go to the bottom of the foot and brush it up. And when I finish, I sit and go, oh, I feel flow. I feel flow. So when you look up the YouTubes,
I
send
will.
it to me and then I'll look them up too, but send them to me
Okay.
so I can say, yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
But it doesn't take much. But for the part behind, you just get behind it and go like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
And then in the
That
front,
is wonderful. Yeah. It feels good. It feels good.
yeah, yeah.
That's
See,
great.
as we get older, everything tends to go south and doesn't come up north very easily.
Right. Right.
Right. So we're sitting, so the fluid gets stuck below.
Stuck.
We have a replacement or a surgery, and there's interference. Thank you for the technology that we can have those surgeries.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I'm not arguing one iota about that.
Mm.
But there's consequences to those.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. We can take care of that too.
Mm.
That's what therapy was always made for. So when you get the big thing, well, sometimes it's instead of needing a big thing.
Yeah.
And other times when you get the big thing, it helps you to heal from the big thing.
Absolutely right. 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 My
Right.
shoulders
And then
feel better too, by the way.
as we're talking,
Yes.
and you're not listing over to the right.
Gosh. Geez.
See what I'm saying? So as you're doing all of this,
Yes.
it's the pattern that was just ever so engaged is unengaged. What a difference it makes when we're not engaging them all the time.
Right. Right.
There's another set of muscles that is the same thing, and that's the psoas.
Yeah.
Right?
The psoas. I think about the psoas a lot.
Sure, because we can be always engaged like that, right? Just da 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 da, rotated, whatever that thing is. If it's always engaged, even in an iota, it looks like we're aging
Right. Right.
when we're not. It's just hurting because it's overdone, it's fatigued, and
Right.
everything is getting pulled, and then nerves get caught up in sheathing. And then you have specialists who teach you about nerve gliding.
That's right. That's right. So, so I'll wait. So you're gonna send me some nerve gliding ones.
I'm gonna, as soon as we get off,
Okay.
I'm gonna start uploading, and then I'm gonna go look
Okay.
for the ones that she sent me, and I will send them to you immediately.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful. And I will go to YouTube and find the lymph exercises. I mean, lymph remedies or therapy.
For the back of the knee.
Yeah.
And
Yay.
it's gonna be a different.
Yay. And apple cider vinegar.
Apple cider vinegar. Brag.
Brag. Yeah. Brag.
Now, I will tell you something I never stopped thinking about. God, 25 years ago, whenever, before my father was diagnosed with colon cancer.
Oh my goodness.
Well, this was back then when Kaiser refused to do colonoscopies.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't mandated by the country. Yeah, other private doctors did them, but Kaiser was like, well, nobody told us we have to, so we're not.
Man.
So that's why he died. But I remember one day my dad saying to me, goes, God, Elinor, my legs, my knees feel heavy. Really heavy. It's heavy to walk with them. It's like I have to lift my legs, the knees. And he got checked for Parkinson's. He got checked, the Kaiser will check everything else, but they did. Right. Okay. So 7 months later, he gets diagnosed with colon cancer, and they start the 5-FU or whatever it is treatment, chemo. One day he says to me, well, the good thing is from this cancer and the chemo, my knees don't hurt anymore. My knees don't feel full or heavy. So Elinor, my daughter of mine, who's always thinking of things, I want you to think of this. And I looked at him and I went, I wonder if you had parasites and the chemo was killing the parasites.
What kind of parasites?
Are you kidding? We get a buttload of parasites, excuse me for the pun. Parasites in the intestines.
No
People
kidding.
get so much parasites. We get parasites when we eat fresh salad.
Oh
we
my
get,
God.
We get parasites. People eat raw fish, but we get parasites from everything and anything.
I eat a lot of raw fish.
Yeah, you probably, I'm sure you have buggies. I know, it's so tasty. And so once a year, my doctor said once a year, you need to do a parasite cleanse just because.
What do you do? What do you do?
Well, there's natural stuff that's called wormwood, and it's a bark of a tree called the wormwood tree, and they make it into a supplement, and you use that, and there's ways to go about doing it so parasites in the intestines, they're so hard to get rid of because they hide deep in the intestines.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so what happens is that's, the whole saying about the werewolf at the full moon, people act crazy, they drive like lunatics.
Yes.
Those are all people with parasites. So what happens is at the full moon, the parasites come out from the intestines, the lining, and that's when they breed and lay more eggs and all that stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
And then it goes into the bloodstream. The byproduct of their poop goes into the bloodstream, and people feel crappy, shitty, and they feel a little bit like an asshole, and they drive like a maniac because they're irritated, right? Wow. They're like a werewolf. So what these specialists do is they just at the full moon give someone milk, and you have to drink a good amount of milk because the lactose is a sugar, but it's a sugar from milk, and the parasites are like, booyah, that is like the best buffet I've ever had. So they come out from the lining to get that sugar from the milk, and that's when you take the parasite cleanse thing, whether it's fenbendazole or whether it's, some people do ivermectin, but it has to be done correctly or else it's not good. Or they take wormwood, or they do cilantro, or there's these
cilantro.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things that are.
Can you just eat cilantro?
Yeah.
Right. That gets rid of parasites?
It helps to get rid of parasites and heavy metals. So the parasites will hover where there's heavy metals too. Wow. So they create an environment, right? It's all about creating the right environment for them. So once a year, you go to a good naturopath who's really smart, who will guide you how to do the parasite cleanse so that you don't feel crappy, you don't feel awful, you don't feel icky. It's gentle, it's easy, and it's once a year for a week or 2 weeks. You're just gently killing them off and cleansing them out. And then you're taking these other kind of supplements or doing these other things to refurbish yourself so that you never feel icky while you're doing it. And my doctor, who is one of the top functional medicine cancer specialists in the country, wow, said everyone, including your pets, should get parasite cleansed once a year.
Wow. I never heard of that, ever.
I go, yes. I go, which one would you recommend for the pets? Oh, just the one that the vet gives them. Just give them to your cats and dogs once a year for a week. Yeah. And I'm like, Wow, that's amazing. She goes, keep it simple. Don't make it hard.
Wow.
And then you'll poop them out and you may see some squiggly things come out, you know, just saying.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. So you never know. All I know is when my dad started the chemo,
He felt that got rid of his parasites. Well,
no,
you realized.
I'm saying his knees got better.
Yeah,
Was it
yeah,
parasites?
right.
Was it yeast in his body?
Oh,
Parasites and yeast and heavy metals all live together.
oh,
They all live together. So all I know is when he took the chemo, he's like, man, I got that spring in my step like when I was 35 years old. Da 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 da. I'm going to be dying from this other part, but hey.
that is so ironic.
Because the thing is some of these chemos kill yeast,
That's unbelievable.
and cancer lives where there's a high yeast count.
Oh, yes, yes, that makes sense. That makes sense.
You see?
Gosh, gosh, this is a
So,
lot to deal with.
so how do we live a life that we're taking care of, just kind of killing off the yeast? Because where there's high yeast, we're going to have sore joints.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
and
So
how do we
people,
know that we have high yeast?
high yeast. Okay, well, it's really sure if you have fungus on your feet or fungus under the toenails. If there's fungus on the feet or under the toenails, then that means it's everywhere. So you should do a global treating.
Mhm.
But some of it, if we eat kind of a high carbohydrate diet and
Uh-huh,
we're craving more the high carbohydrate diet,
uh-huh,
I worry about people that are very vegetarian because they eat a lot of pasta and a lot of
uh-huh.
bread
Bread.
and a lot of grain and all that sort of stuff. It's
Mm,
very high in carbohydrate.
mm,
I worry about that.
mm, mm,
So and obviously you can't just live on all produce alone or you'll never get away from a toilet,
mm, mm,
so you need to be able to hold it together. But
mm,
when people are purposely cutting one thing out
mm, mm, mm.
and then
Yes.
they end up carb loading, changes dopamine, it
Mm, mm,
changes blood sugar. It's a
mm,
lot of stuff.
mm.
So whatever it is that you do, but the thing is where there's yeast, there's achy joints most of the time. There was a book written many, many years ago, and it was a Feldenkrais colleague of mine. She was a physical therapist. Her husband was a doctor, and he's the one who wrote the book called The Yeast Connection. That was the very first book ever written where anyone and would talk about yeast, and people would try to debunk me like, you can't debunk this is totally real. So on some people it comes as thrush, on the tongue,
Right, right, right.
right? They can have psoriasis,
Uh-huh,
eczema,
uh-huh,
itchy, things like
uh-huh.
that. But let's say none of it shows. It's okay to clean yourself up a little bit every so
Yes,
often,
yes,
like
yes.
this.
That, yeah, yeah. Does
All
that
of
get
that
rid of yeast as well?
helps because it's boosting the rest of your system. So it's
I
going to.
see. I see. I see. I see.
So,
Great.
so
Great.
that's what I'm saying. So when you're talking about heaviness in the knees,
Yeah.
I'm thinking lymphatic flow.
Yes. Yeah.
And, at some point we can look at yeast being a thing. But now that you know, and you eat so healthy.
I do, but I eat a lot of carbohydrates, so I'm listening.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. And the high carbohydrates drives dopamine. And you want to try to reroute how to drive your dopamine to support that dopaminergic pattern or
Ratio. Yeah. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Balance. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Elinor, I have to tell you about, I won't be able to see you until I could see you on August the 30th because I have everything is going on in the next 2 weeks because of my trip.
Right.
So the only time I could see you before I go would be the 30th.
Okay,
If
then
you're
let's
free, if you're
I
free.
I am.
Oh, great.
Okay, I am in the morning, so we'll say 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock is fine.
Oops. Okay.
Yeah, because I found out I have to have cataract surgery.
Oh,
Uh, unless you tell me I shouldn't.
well,
Maybe I can take something to dissolve my cataracts.
what kind of lenses do they want to put in?
Just regular one target lens.
What's a one target lens?
They either target far, near, or mid length. Mid.
Okay. And they're not the crystal lenses or any of the newer, more modern?
Well, it's Kaiser, so I have no idea.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, okay. Oh, well, my mom had hers done through Kaiser and she got the crystal lenses.
Oh,
At
what's
the
the
time,
difference?
it just the crystal lenses, your tissue adheres to it and it becomes one like as if it's your own.
Oh, well, they didn't mention that in the video they sent me.
Can you email the ophthalmologist,
Yeah.
ask the ophthalmologist, do I have a choice for lenses? Can you talk to me about the different options of lenses you might offer?
Okay, I will. I'm actually seeing somebody to measure my eyes for this surgery, so I can ask them when I see them.
Okay.
Great. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
I'm going to get this uploaded and
Thank
I'm
you.
going to um, get you the nerve gliding. You're going to do it in the Feldenkrais way when you're
Yes.
doing again with the eye and the head rolling, when you're feeling, because these muscles, these suboccipital muscles, they get tight with TMJ kind of thing. It's all about the suboccipital muscles.
Yes, that
And
makes sense.
oh, absolutely. And then the nerves that come through. So all the lessons that we have been doing is going to help that. You're going to do
Wonderful.
a little bit of steering wheel so that it
Yes.
helps you not get stuck leaning over the right too much. And then the head going, the tongue a little forward, like that. So it's the tongue leading it, then the eyes, the breathing, the relief, the sigh, all of that helps the shoulders go, ah.
Thank you so much. I will do all of
I know you got a whole day's worth right there.
that. Okay. Bless you, dear.
Love
Thank you
you. I
so
love you.
much.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.